first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, we appreciate you joining us. I always say that because I mean it, so no matter what platform you're on, whether that's the Fox 12 Oregon YouTube channel, KPTV.com, or the Fox 12 Oregon app, I always like to remind you those are 3 different places you can find us, or maybe you found us somewhere else, wherever it is. Thanks for doing so. We really, really do appreciate it. We cover a wide range of topics, and right now we are talking about OMSI, the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, and a new exhibit that is going to be starting up there very shortly next week. It is called the Exquisite Creatures Revealed exhibit. And so there's a lot that could mean. I know that's part of the mystery of this, and that's what we're going to solve right now because we have the artist behind all of it, Christopher Marley. Chris, thank you very much for joining us here today. I really appreciate you being on the show and being a part of this. And I'm excited to talk about this exhibit and learn a little bit more about what it is. So maybe to start off, could you give us all a definition of what Exquisite Creatures Revealed is?
Well, this is the second time I've had the opportunity to show my work at OMSI. It's a large traveling museum exhibit. It's been museums all over the country. And actually, I'm wrapping it up, so this is my last stop. I wanted to come back home, and I'm an Oregon native, and just kind of wrap it up here. So it's an experience where you can come and interact. All of the organisms are 3-dimensional. They're all preserved. There's probably 10,000 different organisms in the exhibit. About 650 pieces in the exhibit. So it's really extensive, but it's an opportunity for people to come and experience a lot of different types of creatures, minerals, and plants that they have never had an opportunity to see in real life.
And so these are all preserved.
Right.
And so these were live creatures at one point and preserved and placed into this. I mean, looking through here, just at some of these images for anybody who's watching this right now with us. I mean, it's incredible that you look at that and you don't even realize that is a preserved organism. That this looks, this is art. Right. So this combination of this, I mean, I have to ask you, how does one as an artist, create art and then decide, you know what, I'm going to take preserved organisms and creatures from around the world and incorporate them into my art?
Well, it was kind of a twin passion from my earliest memories. I was always a reptile nut, and I was an outdoorsman and just loved being outside and interacting with the natural world in whatever way I could. And I always wanted to be an artist. And so I fell into the fashion world in my early 20s and ended up living and working in about 40 countries all over the world. And that gave me an entree into a lot of different types of exotic, weird biomes and organisms that I never would have experienced otherwise. And it was just a real passion for me. And it all kind of came together about 25 years ago.
Wow, I love that. So you were going to all these different places, seeing things that you'd never seen before, and like, hey, I wonder if I can bring that, and showcase that to other people. Is that kind of how it went?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's really where the idea started percolating. But all of the vertebrates that I work with are all reclaimed organisms. So they die of natural causes or incidental causes, almost always in captivity. Sometimes, I mean, it's fisherman's bycatch. Sometimes it's roadkill. I mean, I've got kind of my feelers out everywhere for people who work with different kinds of organisms. And so, everything eventually dies. And what I've found is that most of these institutions and zoos and museums and breeders and importers, they all, when something dies in their care, they don't know what to do with it, and it ends up going in a freezer in the back somewhere and kind of languishes forever. And so I've just developed a lot of relationships and pounded the pavement a lot to try to drum up specimens, and then have had just a lot of different ideas about how I want to preserve them. And one of the things that I really try to do is to separate the organism as far as possible from its natural context. And that allows people to see them with fresh eyes, really kind of focusing on the design elements of these organisms as opposed to their natural history or their mannerisms.
Yeah, seeing it just in that, I think that's a great way to look at it. That's kind of what I meant when I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, this is our point. No, these are these organisms, seeing them in a completely different way and manner. And oh my gosh, yeah, like that. That's just, I mean, that's immaculate. There's so much going on right there. So, for when you first started this, and you brought this out for that first time, I know that you've been touring all over the world with this or all over the place. What was it like when you first did it and brought this to people for them to see it? What was the reaction?
The reaction has usually been pretty positive. People really, generally, people are at first incredulous. They're like, "There's no way that these colors are not enhanced. There's no way that this is a real thing.
Right.
I've never even seen a picture of this before." And so we've been really fortunate to be able to find and work with things that are very arcane, that are very unknown, and that's been a really fun part of the exhibit. It's kind of interesting. I try to create an exhibit that is and an experience that is almost reverent. And so generally you see a lot of tears in the exhibit. It sounds really strange, but there's beautiful music, there's a lot of writing, there's beautiful films. And so it's really an immersive experience where you're just drenched in the beauty of the natural world, and it creates kind of a perfect storm of awe and wonder and reverence. And so it's really kind of a special experience, and it's something that has become almost just a real passion for me to be able to help people to have those feelings.
Well, and to see things in just a completely different light, a different way, or creatures or organisms that you've never seen before, as you were when you were going around to all those countries in the very beginning,
right.
and now bringing them to everybody so they're not they get to see it all in this exhibit. One question just on the science side of things that I'm sure people are going to ask is, how do you preserve them in order to use these organisms in this way?
I've got a lot of different methods. I'm a terrible student, and so some of them I have actually just kind of pioneered. We've just invented, just trying a lot of error and a lot of trial, trying to figure out how to preserve, especially soft-bodied organisms, cephalopods, octopus, squid, things like that generally are not considered something that is possible to preserve. And we've been able to make a couple of breakthroughs that have enabled us to preserve things that most people have never been able to. For example, there's one specimen I'm really proud of that we just finished up. I look like a mess, by the way. We're still installing right now, but that we just finished up. That is a giant corpse flower from Southeast Asia. Very few specimens have ever been seen, let alone preserved. This may be the first time that one has ever been preserved, freeze-dried, and it's almost immaculate, the way you would see it in wild. They only emerge once every 4 to 20 years for 5 days, and there's no stem or roots or leaves, and so they're almost impossible to spot. So it's really a kind of things like that are really special. And then we get something that has never been seen before. You kind of have to crack a new code and figure out what the best way is to preserve it. I use a lot of freeze drying. I use a lot of chemicals, and so we just fiddle around with it until we get it right.
Yeah, I mean that process alone, just figuring that out over all that time with just even those many different things that you mentioned there. That's pretty incredible in its own right. That could almost be its own thing right there, or I'm sure it is. But when you have people who come out to see this, and you've sent it everywhere, but say there's somebody coming out for the first time, that's going to go to see this, and they're walking in that door. What do you want their experience to be like?
If they can come in with kind of an open mind, and one of the things that you'll sit down first in an introductory theater, and you'll get about a 4-minute spiel from me. And one of the things that I want people to be able to do is to kind of find the thing that you are drawn to. I believe that nature kind of calls to us in different ways, and really there's as many different ways to relate to the natural world as there are people. And so a lot of times, especially if we're kind of urbane, or we're living in more urban environments, we don't have, or we don't take the opportunity to really kind of hone that special relationship with nature and with our own creativity. And the two are very closely interconnected, and you'll learn a little bit about that in the exhibit as well. But people will find things that they're naturally drawn to, and that surprise them, and they'll find things that they're repulsed by. And so all of those to me are little clues about the way that you as an individual are meant to interact with and to relate to the natural world. So that's the hope. You come out with that relationship a little bit more firmly fixed.
I love it. Well, I can't wait to go see it myself and check this out. And for everybody out there who wants to go, who is now really very interested in going to see this, can you let us know when this comes back to Portland, when it's opening up there at OMSI?
Yeah, we opened, the general opening is a week from Saturday, so on the 5th, October 5th.
October
And
5th.
we'll be there, yeah, we'll be there till February 17th, I believe.
Nice. So people have a little bit of time to get in there, but make sure that you all do and take a look at this. And also, it's always nice having a local artist come back home with your exhibit, showcasing what you found there throughout the world and with all of your travels and with all the science experiments that I'm sure you've gone through to figure out how to preserve everything. So pretty amazing stuff. Well, Chris, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate your time, being here just to share how you went about this and how this all happened and letting other people know about it. And as you mentioned, October 5th, there at OMSI. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And for everybody watching, this is Fox 12 Now. We are live out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. I appreciate all of you joining us. We will be back here throughout the afternoon. We've got several more segments, so whatever platform you are on, you can join me on that, YouTube, Fox 12 Oregon YouTube, KPTV.com, or of course the Fox 12 Oregon app. So all of those are great ways to join the show and watch it afterward. I will talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.